Well, I mean, yeah, Supergirl's a disaster. Um,
Mm.
it failed on every level. It failed to be a good movie. It failed to present itself to the audience in such a way to make anything at the box office. Had a pretty low opening weekend. So we had a bit of a question coming into this weekend about, well, how big of a drop will it have? And the utter complete disaster continues as Supergirl has taken one of the biggest second weekend drops in comic book movie genre history with an almost 75. As of right now, some are saying the number could go higher, but as of right now, the official number is still close to 75% second weekend drop off. Guys, that doesn't happen often, especially with a movie that already made so little. Like every once in a while, you'll get a movie that made $190 million opening weekend, and it could take a 70% drop because everybody's already seen it. Nobody saw Supergirl. And it wasn't good enough that it deserved to have people go see it. It just unfortunately didn't. And so we are in this situation now where Supergirl just tanked harder than we even thought it's possible that it could. Because as we go over and take a look at this chart, Supergirl just took a, get this, 74% drop. That makes it the third biggest drop in the history of comic book films. That is a bigger second weekend drop than Morbius. It's Morbin time. It's a bigger second weekend drop than The Flash, which I still contend I think that movie deserved better. But at any rate, The Marvels beat it out with a 78.1% drop, and Joker Folie à Deux, of course, the biggest drop in one of the biggest drops in the history of film, not just the comic book genre. But at 81.4%, Supergirl takes a 74% drop. And again, this has to be emphasized. It's not just the drop. It's the fact that it dropped that much after not making that much in its first week. As of right now, Supergirl worldwide is hovering around $100 million. I mean, we're living in a world where Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to make more money on its opening day than Supergirl does in its entire theatrical run. Let me say that again. Everybody knew Spider-Man Brand New Day was going to be a bigger movie, but Spider-Man Brand New Day is probably going to make more money on its opening day worldwide than Supergirl will in its entire theatrical run. Look, guys, I don't like revisiting stories of failure. Like when I hate a movie, I do a review about it. I say I hated it, and then I move on and I don't talk about it again. I might bring it up in a conversation about something else if it's comparable, but I'll never make another, like I won't make 8 videos about why this movie sucks part 1, why this movie sucks part 2.
Yeah.
That's just rage baiting. But this is its own story. A second weekend drop off of around 75%. Again, the third biggest drop in comic book movie history. And unlike, to me, The Flash, which I thought deserved better, I can't say Supergirl deserved any better. It was a movie, and notwithstanding that article, I think it was the Hollywood Reporter put out about the fight behind the scenes. That actually happens with a lot of movies. It just never gets talked about if the movie ends up being fine or okay or good. It's when it's a high profile movie that utterly fails that all these negatives start to get highlighted a lot. And I can only imagine how bad the original cut of the film must have been for the movie that gets released in theaters to still be that bad. So again, listen, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say something that nobody's going to agree with, and that's okay, because it's often lonely being right. So I'll say it anyway. They should have Batgirled this movie. They should have Batgirled the movie. Why? Because the reputational damage you have now done to your brand new and fledgling cinematic universe. You had a triumphant entry with Superman. You needed a good follow-up to start to undo the damage of the DCEU. This is a movie when it became clear to them 8 months ago that this movie was not working. You should have mothballed it. You should have said what you said with Batgirl. This does not live up to our standards. We thought it had potential, but we realize it doesn't work. And it will do more damage to us by putting this movie out than it will do if we just shelve it and make Clayface the next movie we have come out. It would be a bad look, for sure. It's a bad look. You scrap a movie that you've already shot. It's a bad look. But sometimes that is a far better outcome, just a bad look, and you eat the financial loss, then the fact of the matter is the poorness of Supergirl is going to cost them money in other movies now. And I think this is one they should have mothballed. Anyway, Rob, I don't think any of us ever foresaw, none of us thought Supergirl was going to be $1 billion film, but I mean, none of us, I think, saw it opening as kind of as little as it did, let alone like a 75% second weekend drop. You see this, we're not going to re-review the whole movie at this point, but I mean, we've seen terrible, terrible, terrible movies take a much smaller percentage drop than this. What do you attribute this big drop to?
This movie's not fun. I mean, ultimately, it's not fun to watch. A movie that, look, you think about the Supergirl TV series with Melissa Benoist. That was fun to watch. And here's a movie where, look, I get the impulse to make your character a recognizable, relatable teen girl that is suffering from trauma, but maybe not do that in a Supergirl movie. And I think that at the end of the day, you're expecting there has to be some kind of a moment where a character goes through a crucible and comes out transformed on the other side. But this Mad Max, the brigand storyline that it tells, that it borrows from Tom King's comic, at the end of the day, you have a girl that's already troubled, and at the end of the movie, she flat out murders someone. And if the guy needed murdering or whatever, sure, probably he did. But at the end of the day, what does that say about, do you think Supergirl's not going to wake up in 5 years and feel good about what she did? What she did was she compounded her own generational trauma with something else that's traumatic, in that she murdered a dude with her bare hands. And I would imagine that this was the first time she ever did that. And I think back to something like Unforgiven, when Clint Eastwood, when Will Money is talking to the Schofield kid about killing someone. And the Schofield kid, you find out that he never killed anyone until he killed that guy sitting on the crapper. And he took his own life. And the Schofield kid can't deal with it, because killing somebody is not something you easily can get over, especially when you come from a planet where your entire civilization has perished. And at the end of the day, watching this movie, why should anybody sit there and watch this? At the end of the day, what does it say to your audience? I mean, look, I've done 3 shows about this movie, and I don't understand how it got made. I don't understand how they went in the direction they went in. But at the end of the day, for a big summer tentpole superhero movie, if you can't walk out of that film with a smile on your face, you failed.
Chris, you've seen the film.
Yeah.
We saw how it performed opening weekend. We're now seeing like a 75% drop. And by the way, this is not the worst comic book movie. Like I think this is, I don't think this is on the level. Like I think it's above that triumvirate from Sony of Morbius, Craven, Madam Web. Like it's better than that. It's still bad. It's still a bad film. So I don't know why do you think this movie took like a 75% drop when there are other even worse movies that didn't? I don't know. What do you attribute to this?
I just, again, it's that superhero fatigue that we're saying that's been plaguing for the last couple of years. And if now it feels like you need your movie to at least be that excellent mark to just even be considered good now, because of just the wide array we've had. And this, unfortunately, to me, falls under the mediocre average. So it gets hit even harder now because we're just sick of that. And we want a reason to go out. To me, what is highlighting more from all of this, it's so funny finally hearing one of those wild John Campea takes it on a live show. I'm usually on the other side hearing you going, oh, that John. And now I'm here. I got to hear it. But to me, I'm so glad it came out, even if I didn't enjoy the movie as much. But it is for sure that Hollywood Reporter article, which you are mentioning, stuff like that happens all the time. We just don't hear about it. Studios wanting, things changed up. Audience scores aren't where they're like. But because James Gunn does so much talking online that, I wish he wouldn't, he just talks such a big game of his universe. And now now it's highlighting, some of the weaker aspects. And it's like you mentioned, James either has to be directing or he has to be studio heading behind writing the film to where it needs to go, because now this puts into question, the other projects he has up and coming. Because if this is what he deemed quality, passable from a script point of view, from, getting it made to it coming out, it definitely already starts to sour some of the outlook that you have. Not in complete doom. I still think there's exciting things on the horizon. Very excited for Man of Tomorrow, but that to me, it was kind of just like, man, it's really making me look at James Gunn, where I think he might not re-up. I know you say because of the Paramount stuff, which totally could be not. To me, I just might think he thought he could do it. Kevin Feige made it look easy. He got to doing it. It's not that easy. Gonna wash his hands clean once that contract is up.
I still want to keep this in context, though. I do want to keep it in context as much as like we're dumping on Supergirl as a project. The reality is they're 1-1 now. Superman was a huge win for them. Supergirl not. Lanterns looks really good. Clayface looks amazing. So if, and we're going out on a limb here, but if Lanterns is good, because it is HBO, and look what happened when they did Penguin. So it is HBO. And if Clayface even comes out to be 60 or 70% as good as it looks, then we're going to be talking about, okay, they're 3 out of 4, right? We're 3 out of 4. So I don't want to jump too far ahead, but you raised the big issue. It concerns me that James Gunn, who did not write this, and and I'm no James Gunn hater. Everybody knows I'm a huge James Gunn fanboy. I'm a huge James Gunn fanboy. But as a James Gunn fanboy, it is concerning to me that he looked at that script and said, yes, this is our standard of excellence, because that script was weak. And the same person who wrote that script is also writing the Wonder Woman project and apparently a Teens Titans project, another project they should not be doing, by the way. But, and it's like, does she have pictures of you with a goat? I just go, because it's not like this was a person, she didn't have some big, huge, glamorous resume of great work she's done in the theatrical. It's practically empty. And you gave her a huge project like Supergirl. And before that movie even came out, you got them working on Wonder Woman and on Teen Titans. And it's like, okay, this is it. So again, a year from now, we could be looking at this DCU as 3 out of 4. Superman was great. Lanterns was great. Clayface is great. Supergirl was their big miss. Hopefully that's the case, but I don't know, man. It's hard to look at a project like this that should have been mothballed and not feel a little less enthusiastic about where things are going. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Supergirl is now officially the record holder for the 3rd biggest second weekend drop in the history of the comic book genre. I can't say I'm completely surprised, but if you told John Campea of 3 months ago, I would have been completely surprised. Whatever you guys chalk this up to, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.